Hey everyone. First of all, I want to let everybody know that I am recording this. Um, Wanted to present to you guys some key principles in psychology, and these are general principles that don't apply just to cognitive psychology, but I think apply to any discipline within this umbrella of what we talk about as psychology. And these key principles I've come up with and I've talked about in other classes, face-to-face classes that I've taught, I think have kind of helped in driving home some difficult concepts. Um, but I wanted to present this to you guys to kind of help your understanding, not only as we kind of wrap up, this is our 6th week as we wrap up this class, but as you kind of move forward. These are also general principles that you can take, with you as you apply to, as you can apply these to other classes, I think, as well. Um, so this first key principle in psychology is basically when we talk about an organism, we talk about ourselves, that an organism's biological and psychological, the biological nature and the psychological nurture continuously interact. What I mean by that is that we have behaviors, we have mental processes that both result from that interaction of what we call inherited genes, our genetic makeup, our genetic influence, but we're also influenced obviously by our environment. This has been, a 100-year debate, 200-year debate in psychology. What's been more influential, the environment or our genetic makeup? It's flipped dramatically. And I think, the argument has come out today that most of the current research has shown is it's pretty hard to say 100% it's genetic, 100% environmental. I think it's 50-50. We are definitely influenced by both our genetic makeup and we're influenced by our environmental influences. So that's kind of the first key principle of psychology. The second key principle in psychology is that no two individuals are exactly alike, okay? And that goes back to our own environmental diversity. It goes back to our experiences, plus, again, that diversity in our genetic makeup. That genetic material is what makes us individual. Some of the current things I've read, not to go too off target on this, is that our genetic makeup is currently, it's thought of as really about 10% of who we are anymore because of all the environmental stuff that we're breathing, and the crap that we eat is so significant anymore. It's actually changing who we are at that genetic level. Our DNA has become so influenced by what we put in our bodies that only 10% of us, 15% of who we are is really who we are. But so because of those environmental differences, because of those psychological experiences that we go through in our inherited genetic makeup, nobody is exactly alike. A third key principle in psychology is that the experiences of the world may actually reflect something different than what is actual or our physical events. Our own experiences may reflect something very different than what is actually happening. And this all goes back to that area of phenomenology, how we experience things, how we kind of study events. We all see things very differently. We all have a very different take on things, or perception, the way we reason, the way we think about things, the way we remember things. It may be very different than what is actually happening in the real world. Meaning it's very different from what other people are seeing or what other people are experiencing. We all select, we attend, we interpret, we attend to, we interpret, we remember, and we experience very different aspects of the same world. Okay, so that's kind of what I mean by we experience very different things than what may be reflected in the real world. For a fourth key principle is for a lot of the things that happen, or for a lot of the questions that we have in psychology, there are no simple answers. That's kind of our go-to. We just don't have any simple answers. These are very, very complex questions that are brought to us as researchers, as psychologists, as scientists, just as thinkers. Very, very complex phenomena, as you have seen through cognitive psychology. Complex phenomena often involve very complex explanations. So there are no simple answers to anything. As a psychologist, people come to me every day, looking for that one magic word, that one magic sentence, and boy, I wish I had a magic wand and everything would be solved. But because people are so complex, we don't have any very simple answers to what's going on. And the behaviors that we see, the mental processes that we see, are going to have multiple causes. So, kind of our challenge is to help try to discover what those causes are. But again, no simple answers. The last key principle in psychology is that what we study in psychology, what we experience every day, what we attend to, what we remember, how we process things, everything that we learn in psychology is one of those disciplines that is relevant to our daily lives. Everything that we experience minute by minute by minute is relevant to our daily lives. And it has everything we study has very practical explanations to the real world. As you've seen through this class, the written assignments, the discussions that we've had have very practical applications. You can apply everything that you've learned in this class, everything that you've learned in other psychology classes to everyday living. So those are basically the 5 key principles kind of overriding kind of the umbrella over psychology. So I'd love to get some thoughts from you guys on what you think of those principles and how you see those principles play out every day. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be looking forward to your responses and to your thoughts. And they're always incredibly insightful. Thanks, guys, and have a good week.